I'm Xochitl Coronado-Vargas, and I work for the City of Tucson's Green Stormwater Infrastructure Program, Storm to Shade. Yeah, so I'm the public outreach coordinator for the program. My job is to really get the public on board and educated and knowledgeable, and even just informed in some cases about what these structures, what this infrastructure is doing in their community. This neighborhood that I live in now, I've been here for about 1.5 years, and it's called Rio Bend. We're really close to the Rio here, and so there is this wonderful park called Rio Vista Park. This is not a Storm to Shade project, but the Parks Department decided to do a really cool restoration of this park, and it was because of all of the input that they got from the very, very active neighborhood association. A lot of people that are just really well educated and are super nature lovers. And so before I lived here, I lived in another neighborhood in the south part of Tucson called Pueblo Gardens neighborhood. And when I lived in Pueblo Gardens, I lived there for 18 years. I raised, I had my son there. We lived a few houses down the street from the Union Pacific rail yard. So we breathed in diesel emissions every day. You can smell them. It was awful. It was one of the most concerning things for me living there. And then we always had, there was always violence. There was like a homicide every once in a while, very close to where we lived. There was always at least one house that was dealing drugs just on our street. It was hard to walk down the street because you didn't feel very safe. The difference in what some neighborhoods are experiencing in different parts of town really influence what happens in that part of town. This neighborhood did have an active neighborhood association. It was a lot smaller, a lot less members in the neighborhood association, but their concerns were about safety. Their concerns were about trash and how, their kids were, breathing in all this nasty air. And here in Rio Bend, neighbors I'm sure there's crime, but it doesn't feel the same. The crime statistics, I assure you, are probably much, much lower. And so people can focus on more creative, kind of like higher level creativity, where they can think of things that aren't within their immediate need for safety, What Storm to Shade is able to do, and I think what governments and municipalities and institutions can do is really look holistically at a city and say there is a lot of burden in these neighborhoods because of income, because of all these environmental justice issues that exist there, and those don't really exist in these other neighborhoods. And so while these neighborhoods may not be advocating for these things because they're preoccupied with more serious types of things that exist in their life and in their neighborhood, we can ensure that we're adding the same amount of investment in green infrastructure to all areas of town, which is what Storm to Shade and the Pima County Flood Control District are really working hard to do. And so now, yes, we can still come into those neighborhoods and ensure that they are giving us the thumbs up about these projects and get input, but we don't need to burden them with another meeting to come to. We don't need to burden them with, be interested in this when they've got like a slew of other things that they have to be worried about and interested in. So I think that's our role, is to ensure that there is equitable and equal investment in these types of things. My relationship, I think, to nature goes back a really long ways, and the way that I interact with it now as an adult is really, I love, putting plants in the ground. I love going on hikes and just spending time outdoors, going camping and hiking and kayaking and all of these things, and being able to bring some of that into the urban area where, sometimes it's hard to get outside of the city, but bringing it into the city and just to 2 minutes ago we saw a bobcat, you know, hunting some of these ground squirrels that's behind me. And being able to see that in the city is incredible. So I think the coexistence is important because we evolved coexisting with nature. And we've gotten so far away from it, and I think it brings us back to like our primitive selves. Like it gives us a glimpse of our primitive selves.
The bobcat is still there.
He is.
Yeah, he's going back.